Hey there, I'm Daniel Mogg. I'm a filmmaker and photographer based in Seattle, Washington, and today I want to show you what's in my camera bag for video production and photography. So my gear has gone from just the camera bag to multiple cases, as you can't see off screen, but there's multiple cases of camera gear here, and that's been a long time coming. I've been in the industry for about 10 years now, so I've accumulated things over time. My very first camera purchase was a Canon 60D, actually. That was when the very first dual pixel autofocus came out, and then I did 70 Mark II with just a think tank backpack, and then it's really just taken off there. I'm gonna break this down a little bit more on the budget side of things, starting with different tiers from starter to all the way to advanced, and that really coincides with your budget and how much you're willing to spend. I'll start with the cheapest camera that I have, and that's what I'm shooting with right here, which is the EOS M6 Mark II. I have absolutely loved this camera. It's my main vlogging camera, as you can see. Purchased a little small rig adapter to it so that way I can mount the microphone on the side, and then I'm shooting here. I can look and see myself on the screen, so it's just a great little vlogging camera. It's a 32 megapixel camera, so it's also really great for stills, both for travel, and I have shot some event work with it. The sharpness is nice. I will say that the details and the highlights and different things aren't quite as great, but if you're just starting and you're wanting to spend under $1,000, I would definitely recommend the M6 Mark II. It does shoot 4K, which is great, and then you can adapt the EOS M lenses to your EF glass, which I do all the time. There's an adapter that comes with it for around $100, and then there's even just a little eyepiece on the top. So if you like shooting pictures with the viewfinder, it's just a great all-around starter solid camera that I honestly use all the time. Camera number 2, and that is the Blackmagic 6K Pro. I've also really enjoyed using this camera on multiple fronts. One is just, the image for how much you pay, $2,500, is absolutely incredible. It's just very cinematic, and I feel like, when you shoot something on a DSLR, you can kind of tell, but when you really shoot on this, I think the image quality is just a little bit different. And the second thing I love about this camera, built-in NDs. You cannot go wrong with built-in NDs. Did purchase a small rig cage for it, and then I'll throw a top handle on here. And then on the battery side of things, I was able to hook up an external battery to this, which I will put the link below to that. And I've had great success shooting. I've shot about 10 NFL games on this, and it lasted the entire game. Maybe I had to switch out just once, but that external battery solution is really great. And with that, shooting NFL games, I had a great amount of success with this camera. I got a little bit better at pulling manual focus. There is no autofocus on this camera, but what I really love is it can really float in between really what your production needs. So I've used this for sports. I've also used this for commercials. On the sports side of things, I generally am using ProRes for that and 4K. That way that keeps the file size manageable. Sometimes if it's a really quick job, I'll actually bake one of the Blackmagic LUTs into the clip so it's ready to go out the camera. But if not, you can shoot it flat, which ProRes is still fantastic with that, and just color correct it. And I've also done shooting in B-RAW, which just opens up a whole new level if you have time to do proper color correction with it. So Blackmagic 6K Pro, I would definitely recommend it for sports and commercial work, and that comes in around $2,500. Camera number 3, and this is my most recent purchase of a camera, Canon R5, as you can see there. And I have rented this a few times. I haven't used it in a full professional setting yet, but I'm excited to use it. So for me, I really needed a stills camera that could also serve as a B cam and then also a gimbal, because I'll get into a little bit, I did just purchase an RS3 Pro as well. And so just based on different research, the budget, what I was looking to spend, the R5 made a lot of sense for me. There has been a little bit of controversy about this camera, the overheating, shooting in 8K doesn't really work. So I'm excited to put this camera through the paces and really give my true thoughts about it. But for me, it just seemed like it made a lot of sense. I think on a couple fronts. one, I really wanted a full frame camera. I don't own a full frame camera, so I wanted that look both to have for stills. Number one, I really love the full frame stills look, and then also on the video side to have one full frame camera that's not my workhorse camera. This, really fit my needs for right now. And I would say, to be honest, as you're trying to build out your camera gear and your kit, really focus in on what you think you would need for right now and what fits into your budget. There's just multiple things that go into it. There's going to be new cameras coming out all the time. And I knew for me that this camera had all the specs that I need for right now. And going forward, this would probably be my main stills camera of choice. And I wouldn't really change that much in the coming years. And for my last camera, this is, I get a little emotional thinking about it. This is the camera that I've always wanted, that I finally invested in, and that is the Red Gemini. Here she is. Man, I've done, one of the first big music videos I shot on was with the Red One. I've always been a big fan of Red. And quick little hack here, I don't know if you know, but Red actually has a used program called Battle Tested. I reached out through their website and talked with one of the sales reps, and they were actually able to give me a very nice deal on this Red Gemini. It was, I think, around $13,500 for just the brain, which that's about, I think, $7,000 off what a brand new one would cost. And it comes brand new from Red. You honestly wouldn't know if they didn't tell you. This one was in really good cosmetic shape. There was just a few dings here and there. I think there was under 100 hours on this camera. So I feel really good about the deal I got. And for me, I'm always thinking about how do I create the best quality of project with also being cost conscious and value friendly when it comes to budget. So I was really happy with that. I did purchase the side handle, which for me, doing a lot of run and gun stuff, I really like the focus knob on here. It's not incredible autofocus, even with some of these mirrorless cameras, but not having a focus puller, it really helps a lot. And then obviously doing manual with your hand. Another investment I made was this Jason case that I travel everywhere with this Red. It has a place for everything that you would need. It fits nice and snugly. I put it in the overhead bin. Don't even think about checking it, but I take that with me, roll it with me everywhere. And I've been super pleased with this Red Gemini so far. In my opinion, when you're trying to compare one of these cinema cameras to a mirrorless, there's really just no comparison. I think that the Red, the quality of the image, it looks just a little bit different and a little bit better than what you would see even from this Canon R5, which is also the main reason that I purchased it as a B-roll and a gimbal cam. I'm working on trying to see if this will fit on the Ronin RS3 Pro. I have a few solutions. Stay tuned for that video. But to throw the Canon R5 and just get rock and rolling with some 4K footage, that's really what fits me and my needs for the projects I'm working on. And this really is my workhorse camera. I've do interviews, narrative projects, documentaries, many different things with this camera. So if you have the budget and you have the projects, Red Gemini, Red cameras, I have a lot of people that shoot on Komodo as well. I just really love their quality of their image, and coming with a photography background, being able to shoot raw in video really is a game changer. So I've been really happy and very pleased with my Red Gemini purchase. You can kind of see the breakdown in tier for price and the quality of the camera. That the M6 Mark II is under $1,000, which is a great bang for your buck camera. I would say also Blackmagic 6K Pro is that next step up at $2,500 for the Canon R5, shooting 45 megapixel stills, 8K, 4K video, $4,000, $5,000 total, probably all in for a Canon R5. Then the top end Red Gemini comes in just about 20K, give or take, depending what accessories you get. And so that really just rounds out just some of the different options that I have in my camera bag. And then I will use all the different appropriate tools based on the project and what's required in the creative. Now let's talk lenses a little bit. I said I do have a lot of EF glass. I'm going to show you how I've done my lenses. So I actually have a few things. You can see here I did custom caps from SibMod, which I'll put in the description, but they are all 77mm filter threads, universal across every lens. So that makes it easier, with the Canon R5 and then the Gemini, they don't have built-in NDs, so that makes it just a little bit easier to not have multiple, but just pop off one and on into each lens. So I've loved these custom caps. It just gives a nice clean look to the lens. I'm not having to worry about losing cheap lens caps, and then my filter threads are consistent. And as you can see here, I have the full EF prime set. I have 35, a 50, 85L 1.4, and then the 100mm macro, which I really like, 24-70, which is the workhorse staple, and then the 18-35, which is great for Super 35 or APS-C cameras to give you kind of like a little pocket full of primes from 18mm to 35mm. The other expensive thing that I've gotten into is vintage glass, specifically Canon FD lenses. I've done a few videos around them, how I adapt them to my M6 and to my Gemini, and then I recently purchased the SimMod RF to FD mount, so now I can test them out on my R5, so I'll have to show social results there. But I have a 35 concave, which is pretty hard to get, and then the 55 1.2 non-aspherical. Then I was able to snag the 85 1.2L, which is a beautiful piece of glass. And so that's my FD set for now. Those have all been anywhere between like $500 to $800 each, which is definitely expensive for old glass, but I really love the character that you see in these lenses, and then the manual focus specifically for my red. It's manual focus anyways. The focus is so nice and smooth. The aperture you're able to do it just right there on the lens. So that's been a really nice combination for me, and I'm excited to shoot more projects with the Canon FDs. So let's talk accessories and stabilizers for a second. I did just purchase the DJI RS3 Pro. I just used it on a shoot with the PGA Tour in Vegas and had a great amount of success with it. I came from the original Ronin S, so just some of the new features are a lot better. I used my Blackmagic 6K Pro on it. I'd set up the focus motor and then used that as manual focus, since Blackmagic doesn't have autofocus on it, which it was okay. I did it. I made it work. I was a little paranoid that I was just missing focus. It was outside in the sun and all that. And so I'm excited to use my Canon R5 on that camera going forward, so I can just know and trust the autofocus. Generally, for the most part, I'm going to be responsible for focus and won't be having a focus puller off screen. Switch pod here. I'm excited. I'll be using that like this. It can also be a little tripod to throw on. And then you can also there's a little ball head mount on here to make it level. And then on the audio side, I use the Deity Pocket RX system. And then I have a couple of their on-camera mics, which have been awesome. This one is for vlogging, which has a microphone on the front and the back. I've shot all my NFL vlogs with that camera. And then this one is what I put on my Red Gemini when I'm looking to get really great sound. So that's a roundup of the camera gear that I have currently in 2020. It's always growing, always expanding. I'm hoping I'm set for a little while. I feel like with all the cameras I have, I can really get any project that I'm doing done. If you have any questions about the gear, please leave a comment below. Would love to help you answer as many as possible. I know there's just a lot of different situations out there and people trying to find the best camera for them. I'll put links in the description below, so if you want a specific camera that I mentioned, you can check that out there. Thank you as always for watching. Happy shooting, and we'll see you guys next time.